Hello and welcome to Just Hoops. Chris Paul is now with the Golden State Warriors as part of a three-team trade during this past offseason. That was one of the bigger trades of the offseason, sending Bradley Beal to the Suns, Jordan Poole to Washington, and Chris Paul to the Bay. Last season, Chris Paul averaged 14 points a game, 9 assists, 1.5 steals, shot really efficiently from across the board, and was just one of the most impactful point guards in basketball. Now, after the preseason, we saw some things that Steve Kerr and the Warriors are doing offensively with Chris Paul on the floor. In this video, we're going to dive into the preseason and see what we can expect from the Warriors with Chris Paul in the lineup. First and foremost, for the Warriors specifically, Chris Paul has the ability to be an offensive hub. The way that he's able to move the ball around, make the right decisions, and also allow actions to breathe. The last few seasons playing with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and just having the ability to allow them to work, that'll translate directly to this Golden State Warriors team, allowing Steph, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, allowing all of these guys to move off the ball, play within the Warriors offense, and allow him to kind of take on that Draymond Green role where he can catch the ball on the perimeter, allow the movement and action to happen, and make the right decisions. Along with that, he'll be great in transition at just making the right plays, throwing it ahead, finding his teammates wide, just making the right plays on the floor, allowing action to happen, allowing the ball to move, and just putting the ball in the right spot at the right time. With the Warriors specifically, you can see in a ton of these clips, there's 3 or 4 men action off the ball, whether it's floppies, double aways, force curls, different things like that I think Chris Paul allows these actions to breathe, because individually you have to guard him. You can't sag off. He's more than capable of scoring the ball and making plays happen himself. But at the end of the day, because of that threat, he's allowed to move the ball, allow action to happen off the ball, and just allow his teammates to be in the best possible positions to go make plays night in and night out. Along with that, the gravity that he creates allows there to be more space on the floor for Steph, for Clay, for Wiggins to move off of screens with less help coming out of that stunt or gap area of the floor. Just having Chris Paul as your orchestrator or ball mover or offensive hub, whatever you want to title him, he's going to be exceptional in this role, make everyone around him better, and I think that the offense is going to have an opportunity to flow as smoothly as it has ever run in the Steve Kerr era, just with the amount of playmaking on the floor through Chris Paul and the allotment of movement that'll happen on and off the ball. As an offensive hub too, he has the ability to score that we referenced. He shot 37.5% from 3, 44 from the field. Just overall, he is a threat to score, whether it's in transition, in the half court, as a secondary ball handler, whatever situation you put him in, he has the ability to go get a bucket. He's still one of the most deadly second-level scorers in basketball, so you have to respect him when he is off the ball also. So the gravity on and off the ball will allow this offense to be explosive and have a chance to be one of the best in the NBA this upcoming season. And to wrap things up in terms of Chris Paul being an offensive hub, I think that his willingness to do a variety of things in the preseason in terms of setting screens, being on the ball, being off the ball, allowing action to move and be that offensive hub, allowing to be a creator himself, I think just the variety of situations that you can put Chris Paul in, allow him to operate and make everyone better, is what will make him so successful in this role. The next thing that Chris Paul brings to the Warriors is a heavier ball screen attack. Just having a guy like Chris Paul on the roster automatically unlocks a new level to the offense that the Warriors really haven't utilized throughout their time with Steve Kerr. Yes, in the playoffs last year against the Lakers, they had to use some pick and roll just to attack the drop coverage, but in the regular season this year, this could be a new level. Last year, Chris Paul in the pick and roll averaged 1.06 point per possession on 55.6 effective field goal percentage, and in the preseason, they showed a variety of different actions, such as pistol that we'll see in this next clip, middle ball screen, drag, double ball screens with inverted action, rams, different things like that to free up the screener, free up the ball handler, and allow Chris Paul to work in space. This next clip here, though, we'll see an example of a stack or Spain pick and roll where Klay Thompson is going to come up behind and set that back screen on the screener and play off of it. It's a way to free up Steph and Clay as shooters, and also a way for Chris Paul to operate with a shooter setting a screen for him in technicality, and also free up a roller. Just a ton of variety, ton of different actions, and at the end of the day, Chris is also a deadly scorer out of the pick and roll to create gravity with the ball. But to wrap things up about the pick and roll with Chris Paul, imagine having to guard the initial and secondary actions of the Golden State Warriors with all the off-ball movement, the pin downs, the floppies, the constant moving off the ball, and then Chris Paul ending up with the ball in his hands in a pick and roll situation late clock. That's going to be very difficult to guard on a nightly basis. And lastly, the Steph-Chris actions that could possibly happen within the Warriors offense. These first few clips, we're going to see two-man action off the ball, first an away screen out of their post-touch actions, just freeing up Chris Paul because of the amount of gravity that Steph has with a miscommunication on the switch. Here we're going to see a zoom action where Kevon Looney's going to get the touch. Steph is going to screen down for Chris. Chris is going to come off the handoff and make a play downhill. Overall, just having the ability to put Chris and Steph together in their off-ball actions, it's very difficult to guard. You can't give either of them a ton of space. Steph is the most elite shooter in the league, and then you have Chris Paul, who if you give him enough space, he's able to make plays off the ball by coming to it, having more space to drag off and make plays happen as that primary ball handler. And then also Chris is willing to set screens for Steph, free him up, move off the ball, and do what is necessary. Pistol actions with them together like that last clip versus Sac. Here we're going to have a three-man side when Sarge gets the touch, and you'll see Steph, Clay, and Chris Paul on a three-man side moving off of each other and eventually making a play happen with Chris Paul coming off the handoff. Just the amount of optionality, variety, and gravity that they can play with in terms of their actions on and off the ball with Steph as a screener, Chris as a screener, putting them in splits, adding Clay into the mix. It could be really fun to watch all season long. Chris Paul adds a variety of things offensively to the Golden State Warriors, and they have a chance to be very explosive this upcoming season. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something about Chris Paul and his fit with the Golden State Warriors as they prepare for the start of the regular season. But for more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you in the next one.